All right, everybody, thank you for jumping on with us for our Tri-State Trends podcast. I got my girl Catharyn Kendrick with me, who's crushing it with the FFL Avengers, having some great success. We wanted to get her on so we can pick that brain and figure out what's happening down there for you. So thank you so much for jumping on with me, Catharyn. How are you?
I'm doing great, great. How are you?
I'm doing amazing. Thank you for
Awesome,
asking. Um,
awesome.
I'd love to chat with you about some of the things you're doing, but before we do that, can you give us a little bit of a backdrop about you and how you found Family First Life?
Sure. So born and raised in Miami, Florida, still here. I keep saying I'm gonna leave, but there's nothing like Miami, so I'm staying. Before I got into the insurance industry, I worked retail and I worked at a middle school as a secretary. Um, and then in 2013, my uncle suddenly passed away from a heart attack. 2015, my grandmother suddenly passed away from a heart attack at home, and neither one of them had life insurance. So coincidentally, I had been talking to my grandmother months before she passed away about getting life insurance, and she never wanted to get it. So I kind of took that as a sign that maybe, I should check the industry out. Put up my resume, got a call from my first practice company, was there for about a year and a half, went on to a broker company, was there for about 3 years. Then I went to my last practice company, was there for 2 years. I had, in that time, met Mark Sorolia in 2018. And then when he came to Family First Life in 2020, he had tried to get me to come on board. And I was like, no, I'm good where I am. Well, fast forward 2 years later, I humbled myself and made that phone call, came on over, and August 1st will be a year that I've been with FFL, and that's actually my birthday. So I spent my birthday last year coming on board to FFL. Great birthday.
I love to hear it. So what has your trajectory been like? What has been your goals up until this point?
My goal is just to make up for some lost time. I had gone through some personal things from 2020 to 2022 and lost a lot of momentum, lost a lot of time, lost a lot of motivation. So once I got here, I just said, look, this is a clean slate. We're going to hit the ground running and just be better than we were the month before. So it's just been trending upward. That's really just been my goal.
Nice. And trending upwards you are, which is why you're on our Tri-State Trends podcast, because we want to focus and highlight on what you're trending on. Let's talk a little bit about your comfort or your growth in your personal sales. What are some things that you're doing? How is this starting to materialize itself for you to have, to be putting back to back to back good months together?
So I got out of my own way and just started listening to what I was being told. When I first got here, my main source of clients was through my warm market. So I was depending a lot on referrals, and I noticed that I kept hitting the ceiling. Like I would say, okay, I'm gonna do better next month, but I just kept hitting the ceiling. So I was like, okay, this is insanity. Keep doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. So I was like, all right, they keep telling me to buy leads. Maybe I should buy some leads. So I bought some leads, and now I have about 4 different lead vendors that I use. So I'm just expanding and, just constantly growing, a lot of personal development, and just continuing to work on myself. That's really what it is.
No doubt. Now, although that sounds really simple, there's a lot you just said. So let's break it down. So would it be fair to say that you were reluctant to buy leads?
I was. Because at my first practice, I had an interesting experience with leads with my first company. They would give us free leads, and they were years old. And we would just, run through them. They're like, oh, it's 150 free leads. So we got good at getting referrals over there. And that was just kind of what I carried on with me throughout my career. But here, the leads are actually pretty decent. They actually work here. So that was just out of, my past experiences.
Got it. So it was So you didn't believe, you didn't believe that the leads
Yeah,
were actually good or could work.
yeah, yeah, yep, yep.
Okay. When
But
did
I'm
you
a believer now.
when did you find out that you were lying to yourself?
The beginning of this year, I
Okay.
really took, inventory of everything, and I was like, look, we have some big goals this year. Last year I was just starting, but if we want to hit these goals, we got to be coachable and do what the winners are doing if we want to win.
It's amazing what coachability would do,
Yeah.
right? What,
Right.
what was the difference between opening up and being closed?
The difference between opening up and being closed.
You being closed before the new year and
Hmm.
coming into this year saying, I got big goals. I have to do things differently. Or it could be, I can have the same result that I did last year. I got to open this thing up. I got to be coachable. I got to be someone who's going to listen, and I got to open myself up to be critiqued and to grow.
Just really putting things into perspective, because I don't want to be that person that lives the same year 75 times and calls it a life. So I knew I had to get comfortable with being uncomfortable.
I never heard that
If I'm
before.
being
That's good.
completely honest.
That is
Yeah,
really.
I had to get out of my comfort zone. Like, I just had to do things that I'm not comfortable doing in order to excel.
Okay, got it. Makes sense. And that's great. I mean, that's the revelation we want most people to have, Catherine. That's what we're here for, literally,
Yeah.
is for people to be able to flesh through what's holding them back. They can flesh through it. They can fight that monster. They can win, and they can change their life, which is what's happening for you.
Yes.
What are you doing from a schedule wise, structure wise? How much you investing in leads a week? What does your ratio look like?
So I'm a field agent still. I know that's prehistoric, but I'm still a field agent. And my dial days are Mondays and Thursdays. I book between 6 to 8 appointments a day, which I'm up in the ante and moving up to 10 now, because I want to stretch myself and work a lot harder. And then I run in the field Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. If I have to, I'll work on a Sunday, but I try to get my week done on those 4 field days. And then as far as lead spend, I spend about 800 a week, but I'm gonna be upping that to 1,000, because I know the sweet spot is about 1,500. So I'm working my way up to that 1,500 mark.
No doubt. And you're starting to see a result from that, correct?
Absolutely,
No.
absolutely.
So you're in the field. So what is your
Yeah.
process like as far as booking an appointment, and then when you get out there, how are you helping the client get to where they want to be?
So I call them. I'm mostly dealing with final expense leads. So I just call them, let them know where I'm calling from, the benefits department. I want to come out and meet with them. I'll be in the area the next day or within the next, 2 days. When's a good time for me to stop by? I ask if they're married, single, specifics about their house, if it's an apartment, all that stuff. Get all those, key details down. Find out what it is that they had in mind when they filled out this request, so I know what I'm, getting into initially. And then, just when I get to the home, I just talk to them as if they're my family member. I find out what their needs are, find out what it is that they want to do, and I let them know if something's not feasible. I let them know in the nicest way possible, but I'll definitely give them a reality check. If you're 80 years old and you want $1 million in coverage, that's not gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I talk to them how I would want somebody to talk to my cousin, my mom, my dad. I let them know that I'm here for them at the end of the day.
No doubt. That's huge. And was that an adjustment for you, or was that natural?
No, that was natural. That was natural. At first we had to do a script, and I just, I try not to stick to the script too much because people can kind of tell when when you're rehearsing a script. So I just was like, if I'm more personable and I talk to them, like we're just two human beings trying to make something happen, you get better results with that.
100%. And now you're starting to even do some trainings, right? And helping other people get strong with what you're getting strong at. What does it feel like to be regurgitating what it is you're doing to create success so that other people now are being able to experience similar things and learn from hurdles that you had to jump?
I mean, it's very honorable for me to be able to tell people, some of the mistakes that I made, help them out so they don't make the same mistakes, and it'll possibly project them, a lot faster to success because they're learning from me. I've been in the industry for 7 years.
Mm,
For someone who's just coming in, just don't try to reinvent the wheel.
right.
Just
Mm.
just stick to the program.
So, what are some things that you would tell a new agent, someone who wants to get kind of over some self fulfilling defeatist behaviors, people that are trying to break through, people that are trying to grow to another level, things that you've done? What are some things that you would? What's a parting shot? What would you tell a new agent?
Work on you. Let working on you be the biggest project that you have in your lifetime, because a lot of people want to treat this not necessarily like a hobby, but most people are coming from a W-2, and they're going to have people in their ear telling them, oh, this is a horrible mistake and you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that. Keep the noise out by working on you and just listen to the people that are where you're trying to get to, and you'll have success. It's not easy, it's hard, but it's definitely worth it. The quicker you change, the quicker you'll have success.
It sounds so simple.
It does, but it's not.
But I want to say this, though. It's as simple as you make it.
Right.
Like the way you said it, the quicker you change, the quicker you'll have success is exactly the truth. Doesn't mean the process is going to be fast of changing or challenging yourself to become a different version. But as easy as you said it is as true as it is, right? The faster
Right.
you change, the quicker you have success. That's what I want to ring into people's ears, the audience's ears, Catharyn. So I appreciate you so much for jumping on with us for our Tri-State Trends podcast. I'm looking at your trajectory going up and to the right, so I'm excited to see how the year ends for you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Catharyn Kendrick's Tri-State Trending with your boy, Mark Mead. Appreciate y'all. Thank you, Catharyn. God bless.